Absolutely. Here's a powerful and emotional opening to your speech titled "Do What 98% of Others Won't," written in the passionate, high-intensity Eric Thomas style to instantly grip the audience and convince them to lock in for the whole message. Opening in Eric Thomas style: "Listen to me real close. This ain't just a speech. This ain't entertainment. This is a wake-up call, a line-on, the sand moment. I didn't come here to inspire you. I came to shake your soul. I came for that version of you that's tired of waking up average, tired of pretending like you're okay with mediocrity. I came for that fire inside you that keeps getting smothered by excuses, by fear, by comfort, by what everybody else is doing. 98% of people, they play it safe, they live on repeat, they sleep in when it's hard, they quit when it hurts, they compromise when it costs. But if you got the heart to be different, if you got the guts to do what 98% of the world won't, I promise you there's a level of life waiting for you that most people will never see, never taste, never touch, but you gotta earn it, not with talent, not with talk, with sacrifice, with sweat, with discipline when the motivation runs dry. And I ain't just talking about being successful in one area. I'm talking about dominating every room you step in because you showed up when others didn't. You stayed late when others left. You kept grinding when others got comfortable. So don't just sit here and listen halfway. Lock in. Turn your phone off. Don't just hear this, feel it. Because this right here, this could be the day your life changes. If you really get what I'm about to tell you, if you grab it, own it, and apply it, then you'll stop living like the 98% and start rising like the 2% that were built to lead, that were built to win. Let me tell you something. Most people don't lose because they're not talented. They don't lose because they're not capable. They lose because they're soft. They lose because they spend their whole life trying to feel good instead of trying to get better. They're addicted to comfort. They wake up every morning and ask themselves, what's the easiest way to get through the day? And that question alone already cost them the win. You can't chase greatness and comfort at the same time. It don't work like that. One of them's got to go. See, the 98%, they love comfort so much, they build their whole life around avoiding pain, avoiding pressure, avoiding inconvenience, but growth lives in those places. You don't get stronger in the easy moments. You don't level up doing what you already know how to do. You grow when you get stretched, when you get uncomfortable. When everything in your body tells you to stop and your mind says, not keep going. Let me break it down. Comfort is where dreams go to die. Comfort is where you hide when you don't want to face the truth about who you are and where you're falling short. Comfort tells you it's okay to sleep in. Comfort tells you you've done enough. Comfort whispers in your ear and makes you forget why you started in the first place. And if you listen to it long enough, it'll convince you to settle, to shrink, to give up that big vision and replace it with something safe, small, and easy to reach. But that's not what the 2% do. That's not what winners do. Winners wake up and say, what's gonna make me better today, even if it hurts? What's going to make me stronger, even if I don't feel like it? They lean into the fire. They choose the wait instead of the shortcut. They choose the early mornings, the late nights, the long hours, the uncomfortable conversations because they know pressure makes diamonds. They know growth doesn't come with a pillow. It comes with a grind. You gotta fall in love with the uncomfortable. I'm not saying be reckless, I'm saying be relentless. Push yourself into that space where the average person would have already quit 5 times over. You think it's supposed to feel good every day. You think greatness feels like a warm blanket. No, greatness feels like 4 a.m. Greatness feels like rejection. Greatness feels like failing over and over and still getting back up. You've got to be willing to live in that space where most people won't even visit. You know what separates champions. It's not just the work ethic, it's what they're willing to go through to get to the goal. They're not afraid of pressure. They embrace it. They're not afraid of being uncomfortable. They invite it because they understand that on the other side of pain is purpose. On the other side of struggle is strength, and on the other side of doing what 98% of people won't do is the life only 2% of people will ever experience. You've got to train yourself to think different. You've got to rewire your mindset. Stop saying, "I don't feel like it," and start saying, "This is exactly why I need to do it." When your alarm goes off and your body's screaming no, that's when your mind's gotta scream louder yes. When everyone else is tapping out, checking out, opting out, you dig in. That's how you separate yourself. That's how you cross over from average to elite. Because every single day you choose growth over comfort, you're casting your vote for the 2%. This world don't need another comfortable, average, watered-down version of you. It needs the real you, the disciplined you, the focused you, the driven you. But to become that version, you gotta walk through the fire that the 98% run from. You gotta be the one that shows up even when it's raining, even when it hurts, even when nobody's watching, and especially when you don't feel like it. If you can do that, if you can learn to choose the hard path over the easy one, there's not a force in this world that can stop you. Everybody talks about motivation like it's the key, like it's the magic, like if you just get fired up enough, you'll go out there and change your life. But let me tell you the truth, motivation is weak. It's a feeling. It comes and it goes. It shows up when things are easy, when the sun's out, when life feels good. But what about when it's cold? What about when you're tired, broke, behind, hurting? Motivation don't show up for that. Motivation disappears when it's inconvenient. That's why you need something stronger, something deeper, something that doesn't quit just because you don't feel like it. You need discipline. The reason 98% of people will never reach their full potential is because they depend on motivation. They wait for it, they scroll for it, they chase it, and every day they don't feel it, they stop. They skip the gym, they don't study, they don't execute, they hit snooze, they start over again next week. And they think they've got time, but they don't realize that every time they hit pause on their progress, someone else just hit play on theirs. Discipline don't care about your feelings. Discipline don't ask how you slept last night. Discipline don't care if it's raining, if you're sore, if your friends are going out. Discipline says, "We made a decision, now let's move." That's what separates the elite. The people who win are not always the ones with the most talent or the best circumstances. They're the ones who show up consistently. Even when it's boring, even when it's hard, even when nobody else is watching. You know how many times I didn't want to do it. You know how many days I wanted to quit. It wasn't motivation that got me through those moments. It was the decision I made long before the pain showed up. I decided that I would keep showing up no matter what, and that's what you gotta do. You can't just do it when it feels good. You can't just grind when it's convenient. That's not commitment. That's conditional effort, and conditional effort produces conditional results. If you want something unconditional, unshakable, then your discipline's gotta match that. Your commitment's gotta match that. Your actions daily have to reflect that. See the 2%. They don't need to be hyped up every day. They don't need a speech or a song or a perfect morning routine. They made up their mind, they're locked in, it's already decided. So when the alarm goes off at 4:30 in the morning, they don't negotiate. They don't argue with themselves. They get up and get to work. And because of that, they build momentum. They build confidence, they build results, not because they felt amazing every day, but because they stayed disciplined every day. It's not about perfection. It's about persistence. You will mess up. You will miss some days. You will fall short. But discipline says, I get back up. I don't quit. I don't need a reset. I need a reminder of who I am and why I started. You don't need more motivation. You need more commitment to your standards. You need to set non-negotiables. You need to stop giving yourself an out every time it gets uncomfortable. Because that voice in your head that says, it's okay to skip just this once, that voice is a liar. That voice is protecting your comfort, not your calling. You've got to be stronger than that voice. Discipline is your power. Discipline is how you build trust with yourself. Discipline is what turns chaos into order. When your life is out of control, don't look for a breakthrough. Start with a routine. Start with one thing, done well every single day, then stack another, then another. That's how you build the foundation for real success. And listen, when people see your life change, when they see you consistent, when they see you showing up again and again, they're gonna ask you how you did it. And you won't say, I was motivated. You'll say, I was disciplined. I did what needed to be done, whether I felt like it or not. Because while the 98% are still waiting for the perfect moment, you'll already be walking in the results they only dream about. Everybody wants success. Everybody talks about goals. Everybody says they want to win. But I need you to understand something. Wanting it ain't enough. Interest ain't enough. Being curious about success won't get you there. You gotta be obsessed. You gotta be so locked in, so focused, so consumed with becoming great that it becomes your lifestyle. Your identity, your oxygen. You can't just want it when it's convenient. You can't just chase it when things are going your way. This has to be who you are even on your worst days. That's the difference between the 98% and the 2%. The 98% treat their goals like hobbies, like part-time passions. They work hard Monday through Wednesday and coast through the weekend. They go all in until it gets hard. Then they start looking for another path, a new goal, something more balanced. But the 2%, they don't play with it. They don't dabble. They don't just like success. They require it. It's not optional. It's personal. It's do or die. When you're obsessed, you don't need reminders. You don't need motivation. You don't need accountability partners chasing you down. The mission wakes you up in the morning. The vision keeps you up at night. The obsession is always there, always whispering in your ear, you're not done. You haven't earned it yet. You can do more. It drives you to push past your limits. It makes you train like no one's watching. It makes you say no to distractions that the average person indulges in every day. You gotta be obsessed with the process, not just the outcome. See, the 98% only love results. They only get excited when they see the reward. But the 2%, they love the grind. They love the hours in the dark, the sacrifices nobody claps for, the little details that most overlook. They understand that you can't fake obsession. You either live it or you don't. You either breathe it or you don't. Most people think being obsessed is unhealthy. They tell you to calm down, to take it easy, to slow down a bit. That's because they don't understand what it takes to be great. They don't understand the level of commitment required. If they did, they wouldn't be talking, they'd be doing. They'd be so focused on their own lane, they wouldn't even have time to criticize yours. But because they're not obsessed, because they're not all in, they try to pull you back down to their level. Don't listen. Protect your obsession. Protect your energy. You have to be the one that's willing to shut it all down if it doesn't feed the goal. You have to be the one who sacrifices when it's lonely, when nobody's clapping, when people don't understand. That's what it takes. You have to be so focused that it feels like tunnel vision, and I know it's hard. I know people will doubt you, call you extreme, say you've changed. Good, that's the point. You're supposed to change. You're supposed to evolve. You're supposed to let go of who you used to be so you can become who you were created to be. You know what obsession does. It gives you clarity. It strips away the noise. It silences the distractions. Because when you're obsessed, you don't have time for games. You don't have time for excuses. You're not bouncing between goals and starting over every other month. You're locked in, you're grounded, you're executing, and every single day you're stacking small wins. And those small wins, they add up. And one day you look up and realize you're not even in the same category as you were when you started. That's what the 2% understand. They know obsession is the bridge between average and excellence, between talking about it and walking in it. Between wanting it and actually owning it. That's what changes your life. You want to do what 98% of people won't. Then you've got to develop a level of obsession so deep that even when life tries to distract you, discourage you, or delay you, it can't derail you. Everybody wants the reward, but nobody wants to pay the price. Everybody wants success, but when it's time to sacrifice, that's when people start backing up. That's when they start negotiating. That's when they start saying things like, well, maybe this just isn't for me, or I'll try something else. And that's exactly why 98% of people never make it to the next level. Not because they're not smart enough, not because they're not talented enough, but because they're not willing to give up what they want now for what they want most. You say you want to be successful, but you're not willing to give up sleep. You say you want financial freedom, but you won't stop wasting money on distractions. You say you want greatness, but you're still holding on to average habits. That's the real problem. People want transformation without loss. They want change without letting go. But if you want to do what the 98% won't, you've got to sacrifice what they refuse to let go of. Sacrifice is the filter. Sacrifice is where the line gets drawn. This is the part of the journey where people either rise or retreat. This is where we find out who's playing and who's committed, because the price will always show up before the prize. Always. You don't get to skip the hard part. You don't get to cheat the process. There's no shortcut, no hack, no easy way. You've got to make decisions every single day that cost you something, and if they don't cost you, they won't change you. Most people aren't willing to miss the party. Most people aren't willing to walk away from comfort, cut off distractions, or isolate themselves for a season so they can focus. Most people aren't willing to say no to things that feel good in the moment, so they can build something that lasts forever. That's why they never build it. That's why they talk about it for years but never step into it, because every time the price shows up, they shrink. But you can't shrink. You've got to rise. You've got to be the one that says, if it costs my old self, good. If it costs some friendships, good. If it costs me some sleep, some comfort, some leisure, good. Because I'd rather lose that and gain a future than keep all of that and stay stuck in the same place. There's a version of you on the other side of sacrifice that's bigger, better, bolder. But you'll never meet them until you lay something down. You'll never reach that next level until you let go of the level you're on. You can't cling to average and expect to rise to excellence. At some point, something's gotta give, something's gotta die. The distractions, the excuses, the bad habits, the lazy mornings, the toxic environments, you've got to put them down, because if you don't, they will keep you from every breakthrough that's waiting on the other side. And don't get it twisted, it's not just about working hard. It's about giving up good things to get to great. It's about walking away from things that aren't even bad, but they're not taking you anywhere. It's about making decisions most people wouldn't dare make because they're scared of living without their comforts. But the truth is, comfort is costing them more than sacrifice ever will. Comfort is robbing them blind. Sacrifice doesn't feel good in the moment. It hurts. It stretches you. It leaves you wondering if it's worth it. But the people who win, they don't let the pain of the moment blind them to the promise of the future. They know that the pain is proof that they are on the right path. They know that temporary loss is nothing compared to long-term impact. And they don't just think about how they feel today. They think about what they're building for tomorrow. So when you look around and see everybody else choosing easy, you stay on the narrow path. When people question you, when they mock you, when they say you're doing too much, you keep going. Because you know something they don't. Sacrifice isn't the enemy, it's the entrance. It's the doorway to the life they'll never live because they never had the courage to pay the price. If you're willing to sacrifice what they won't, you'll live the life they can't.